Oh, that's right. We got
Fratelloni's
YouTube.
Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1462, January 14th, 2025. 49 degrees was the record high on this day. That was in 1944, and it was 26 below on two occasions, 1963 and 1972.
Hail the Flashlight King.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Height in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your Flashlight King, Fireworks Commissioner, and the Keeper of Common Sense, your Mayor, Joe Soucheray.
Two things. Yesterday I noted during Only Because that Jimmy Carter was the first president born in a hospital.
Yes.
Prior to that, I think most people were born at home. If they were lucky to even be at home. They could have been, at the store or something.
Right.
So I got a
She's
note.
in aisle 5. Time to go.
Pick up an
Produce
aisle 5,
section. Yeah.
Well, I got a note from Mary who writes, after 62 years of our family using the table that was in my mother's family home, we found out all the kids were born on it. But
Wow. Okay.
Yikes.
Do you do that over dinner? Or do you maybe wait
It's
till...
like that. It's the equivalent of that Tupperware big bowl that's used for popcorn, soaking your feet, vomiting,
you do
everything.
it just as somebody's taking a spoonful of gravy.
Salt water for firefighting. Joe, I would like to correct you regarding the erroneous comments regarding salt water not being good for firefighting because it will corrode the pipes. As a professional mariner for more than 20 years, I can attest that salt water does not pose any issues for firefighting piping systems, at least not in the short term. The firefighting systems we use on board all utilize salt water run through steel piping, and I've only seen small local repairs being needed on ships older than 15 years old. If you want some further information on the subject, you could check out this video, which goes into greater depth regarding it, and then he links me to that. I've been listening for more than 15 years. My wife introduced me to the show, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Regards, Mac Murdoch. Okay, common sense would suggest that you could use salt water to put out the fires. A, the planes use it.
Okay.
They go get it. And B, you would hopefully use it so infrequently that why would you even be worried about corrosion in the pipes?
True. It wouldn't be a daily usage thing.
Right. Thank you.
I've never believed Google. Google's a bunch of liars. They're working for the left.
I'd like to put some of the fire information into context. There's a great YouTube video that was created by the Los Angeles Fire Department in 1962. Oh, brother, I had everything laid out here just handsomely, and now I can't find it. Here it is.
Got it.
It's called Design for Disaster. I recommend that people look it up on YouTube. Design for Disaster, done by the fire department itself in 1962, and it's about the fire that devastated Brentwood and Bel Air. And on a per capita basis, I would suspect that it was as ruinous as today's fire, just not as many homes destroyed, about 500. And the documentary that the fire department filmed goes into great detail about the topography and the effect of the winds and how even back then fire hydrants were a problem. The most eye-opening moment in the 27-minute film, which is produced by the Los Angeles Fire Department more than 60 years ago, was the segment about dry fire hydrants. Even in attempts to save individual homes, firemen are further thwarted by the loss of water. How can a modern water system properly designed to meet emergency fire conditions fail to function, the narrator asks? And then he then goes on to explain, when thousands of outlets are open below the hill, water pressure is lost in the overtaxed main, regardless of the amount of water above the houses. When the water supply comes from a distant location and supply pipes dead end on the hill, unnecessary use of too many outlets below the fire area simply drains the water out of the upper system. The film gets its name from a 1959 survey of Los Angeles topography that warned people of the Bel Air fire, which destroyed 484 homes, including those of Dennis Hopper, Zsa Zsa Gabor, and Burt Lancaster. Okay. In 1959, experts from the National Protection Association surveyed portions of Los Angeles. They found a mountain range within the city, combustible roof houses closely spaced in brush-covered canyons and ridges serviced by narrow roads. They called it Designed for Disaster, the Rod Sterling-style narrator says. They predicted the Bel Air fire plus others that are sure to come. Unless citizens and city officials work together on a definite plan of fire defense, the prediction was nothing new to the firemen. Sadly, history repeats itself until lessons can be learned. Let's hope the politicians and others in charge finally watch this documentary and listen for once to what the firefighters know best. It's worth your time, DFL'ers, if you want to look that up. Not right now. We're doing the show.
Right, just wait.
Pay attention.
It's called Designed for Disaster, and it's done by the Los Angeles Fire Department, and it reminded me to dig out one of my favorite quotes in all of American literature.
Oh, boy.
That also helps put things in perspective. I had that in front of me, too. Oh, for God's sake, Joe.
In St. Paul, gangsters can bleep in the streets.
It wasn't that one. It was it was Raymond Chandler.
Oh,
And it was from a collection of short stories called Red Wind. There was a desert wind blowing that night. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair and make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends in a fight. Meek little wives feel the edge of the carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen. You can even get a full glass of beer at a cocktail lounge. That was from a collection called Red Wind. What year do you think that was written?
that was from 1935.
1946.
I was going to say 52.
So the point is,
I didn't get to guess.
this is all. This isn't climate change. Speaking of which,
You blasted through that. That deserves a...
you want me to read it slower?
I want you to give it to Matthew, because Matthew has a voice today.
Yeah.
And if Matthew chills out and gives us a dramatic reading of that, Matthew, do your best. You're an actor.
Okay, this whole quote?
The whole
There's a
paragraph.
lot here.
It's the most you've read in a year.
Pretty much. There was a desert wind blowing that
Now,
night.
wait a minute. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a, I want serious.
It happened upon a midnight clear.
No.
There was a desert wind blowing that day.
There was a desert wind blowing that night. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair and make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends in a fight. Meek little wives feel the edge of the carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen. You can even get a full glass of beer at a cocktail lounge. Matthew Mikulski reporting.
Sorry, Joe, that was a bad idea.
I'm sorry to let you guys down like
wasn't a
that.
good idea.
I thought my
He
voice was a lot
doesn't
cooler.
have the feel. I think Joe could have reread it much better.
Speaking of the they're blaming climate change. It's not climate change. Any reasonable, rational thinking person should understand that.
When you say they, who is they?
Yes, who is they?
Jimmy Kimmel.
The legacy news gatherers are blaming climate change. Newsom is blaming climate change.
He didn't actually say that, did he?
Well, it's come up.
Oh.
The failed mayor of Los Angeles has probably brought it up. Here's the problem. The same people who want to put everything in the climate change basket, if they truly believed it, why don't they do something about it? In other words, they're quick to always blame climate change, but they have made no adaptations for climate change. If the mayor of Los Angeles or the very diverse fire department and water department of Los Angeles feared climate change, Why haven't they figured out this problem that was at least cited in 1962 with some pressurization problems involving hydrants? As I've said, Musk can get a rocket to parallel park itself after returning from space. You mean to tell me the world's best minds can't come up with a way to fight these fires? Solve that problem. If you really believe it's climate change, why don't you do something about it? But they don't. They hide behind climate change. It's because it's part of their Green New Deal BS thing that has nothing to do with the climate. If it had anything to do with the climate, they would do something about it. They don't. They don't. And unfortunately, back in 1962, I watched that documentary. There were 3,000 people a month moving to Los Angeles.
Wow.
They were building on every square inch. They were building on an oasis with a desert behind it, and they knew about these Santa Ana winds. The fires were inevitable. They've been happening throughout time. But we have a current political class. It doesn't begin with the current one. It goes back years that has squandered what our forefathers built. It has squandered the bridges and the roads and the firefighting apparatus and the reservoirs. They've let it all go because they're not interested in the necessities of the American way of life. They're interested in their own aspirational vision of what things should be. You making a funny body noise?
Well, I heard that.
I
over
apologize. I apologize.
What is
Here. Maybe
3,000?
your belly could read that poem.
What's 3,000 times 12? Never mind, I'm doing it now. 36,000.
36,000.
Approximately 422,000 people moved to California, not L.A., California in 2023. I can't find the L.A. number.
I don't know why you would move. Well, I don't know why you would move there.
But
it's beautiful. What's left of the L.A. area is beautiful. Do you want to bet that those houses and businesses will never again be built along Highway 1, Pacific Coast Highway?
Yes, I will take that bet.
Yeah, they just won't be built there.
No,
again.
I will.
What
I
will-
bet they will.
You think they will be? I do not think they
Yeah,
will
so
be.
do I. Yeah.
What do you think they will be there?
It'll probably be a bicycle path. I don't know what the hell it'll be. It'll be whatever their aspirations are. And their aspirations aren't homes and businesses. That reflects capitalism.
Did we talk about this on the air? I remember asking someone if you thought, no, I think it was my wife, do you think there will be a political sea change coming next election due to the fires? And I'm setting you up here. Go ahead.
Well, does this answer count? I certainly hope so. Does that answer count?
No, not really, because I asked, when I asked the roommate, she said, oh, yeah, absolutely. And I said, well, just like we had a political sea change in Minneapolis after Minneapolis burned down.
And we didn't, did we?
No, not at all.
And we even reelected the worst governor in the history of the state.
We did, yeah.
But on that note, the government is here to help.
And I want to be clear, we're not waiting until those fires are over to start helping the victims. We're getting them help right now, as you all know. People impacted by these fires are going to receive one-time payment of $770, one-time payment, so they can quickly
And,
purchase things like water.
That's such an embarrassment.
Why?
It's an insult.
Why do you even publicly say that?
What did the people of Maui get? $400?
No, I think it was 700.
Are the people of North Carolina gotten anything? I don't know. What an embarrassment.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
I was going to start talking about Ukraine, but I'm not prepared to.
$3.5 billion.
Why are we sending so much money there? Oh.
It's almost like it's
It's
planned.
it's almost become
Like a
written
shell
in
game.
stone that we're supposed to be cheering for this. I'm not ready. I haven't done enough homework. This Jack Carr fellow who we've interviewed, and I wanted him on. He's taking a writing sabbatical now, so he's not doing any appearances. My God, in the current book I'm reading, it's just he's clairvoyant. He either knows stuff and he's getting away with reporting it, or he's got a hell of an imagination. I'll just leave it at that.
Or could it be both?
Okay.
Could be both, yeah. The Bel Air fire was a disaster that began as a brush fire on November 6, 1961 in the Bel Air community of L.A. The fire destroyed 484 homes and burned 6,090 acres. At least 200 firemen were injured with mostly eye injuries due to smoke and flying embers. The fire was fueled by strong Santa Ana winds. Then it goes, this is just Wikipedia, it goes on to tell me the celebrities who were affected. As a result of the Bel Air fire, Los Angeles initiated a series of laws and fire safety policies. These included the banning of wood shingle roofs in new construction and one of the most stringent brush clearance policies in the U.S. The Los Angeles City Fire Department produced a documentary, Designed for Disaster, which I've already told you about the wildfire. It's narrated by William Conrad. It called the densely packed homes nestled on hillsides covered in dry brush a serious problem in fire protection even under the best of conditions. Now, what's interesting is between 1962 and today, there's been fires in L.A., but nothing of this significance. I wonder, I don't know how to look this up. They created a stringent brush clearance policy in 1962. Did that end? I asked rhetorically. Has the brush been reassembling itself that's 62, 63 years ago?
Yeah.
Has the brush been piling up?
I know there's some cities in the area. I got a subscription to the LA Times for 4 months for $1 because I wanted to keep track of all this.
Yeah.
The cities themselves actually now have laws, whereas if you don't clean the brush from your yard, you are subject to fines. Now, I don't know about the entire area and what they've done with the forested area, but
I have an AI answer. The clearing policy mandates that all vegetation within 200 feet of structures must be maintained with grass cut to a maximum height of 3 inches. Shrubs and native brush should be trimmed to a maximum height of 3 inches as well.
I think it's safe to say these people who live there all have fire in their consciousness. They all would be aware.
Have to.
Yeah,
It's us with winter. It's the same, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be the same mindset?
Yeah, you know it's
sidewalks.
coming, and you got to have your boots ready and your mittens.
This policy that I read to you looks like it's for homeowners. I don't see that this covers hillsides and valleys and such where there aren't any homes.
From the Post, the devastating wildfires that have laid waste to entire L.A. neighborhoods were fueled in large part by dried-out underbrush piling up in the surrounding hills, which state and local officials ignored warnings for years and at times even misled the public about efforts to clear it. Removal of decaying vegetation is a key component of brush fire prevention in climates, but the L.A. Mayor, Karen Bass, and Newsom repeatedly failed to address the problem, which set the stage for one of the worst disasters in the city.
Okay, what I would do, what a new mayor should do, and God willing, there'll certainly be a new mayor soon, I would go back and study that 1962 directive and see how they did it, how effective it was, what it took, and then duplicate it. Do it again.
They're not going to do that, Joe. They'll go back and look at the equity policies and DEI, but they will not look at that.
No, but a new incoming Los Angeles cannot. The state of California cannot be sustainable with the current political ideology in force. It cannot work. It won't.
Sorry,
work.
but you have naive high hopes.
I really do. But it can't work.
I agree.
It can't work. It won't work.
And Newsom, it's no secret the Pacific Palisades were slowly becoming a tinderbox over the years, with Newsom himself pledging on his first day in office in 2019 to overhaul the state's wildfire prevention apparatus.
And am I correct in saying that did not happen?
That did not happen. You are correct.
All right. You know, they did detain a guy with a blowtorch.
Right.
But he was only arrested because he wasn't using an electric blowtorch.
Hey.
See, that's from.
Was he here legally?
That's from the. I don't know.
No,
Let me
he was.
look.
He was illegal.
Let me look. That is serious. They did get a guy with a blowtorch.
Right. Well, he was confronted by residents of that neighborhood. That's how it started. Mm-hmm. And then police.
Yeah, he was an illegal.
Oh, that's weird.
Mm-hmm. The suspect had been detained in the Woodland Hills area. Neighbors banded together to stop him. He'd been walking with the bike and what appeared to be a yellow blowtorch before being stopped by the citizens. The man had been arrested on a felony probation violation and was not facing arson charges. Okay.
Wow.
What a country.
Okay.
Yakov Smirnov.
What's the motivation for setting those fires? Is it political based? Is it hatred for humanity? I don't understand why.
There's evil among us.
Yeah, I guess.
There's evil. I hope your garage door is working. We live in rather calm times here in Minnesota, but the cold can take a toll on your garage door because you open and close it all the time. And boy, can I speak to that. Mine's open more than it's shut. Precision Garage Door is your garage door guy. They serve the western Wisconsin area, the metro area. They don't charge more for weekend visits. You don't want to have to call them on a weekend. You want to be up to date on the operation of the garage door. And if you need a new door, Precision Door Minnesota will help you. They have models for every budget. They send out a designer. That whole consultation is free. But if you want to keep your garage door in tip-top conditions or you have problems with it, make Precision Door your... Are they in our list of clients, by the way, on the website?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. Put this number in your contacts for Precision Door, 612-263-6985. Or if you prefer the interwebs, you can schedule an appointment or schedule your free on-site new door estimate at Precision Door MN, one word, precisiondoormn.com.
The end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Reavers here for my friends at Hofferman Water and Connecticut. It's an independent water treatment dealer. I was just in the area just the other day. It's a fantastic location over there in Burnsville. They offer sales, service, and rental options for Connecticut water treatment systems. That includes water softeners. It doesn't matter what you're in the market for, if it's that or if it's an iron rust and odor filtration system or a brand new drinking water system. A brand new system from Connecticut can do so many things that other water softeners just simply cannot do. It will cut down on your salt usage, but it's also going to protect your appliances. And that's because bad water can affect almost every aspect of your home. I'm not kidding. It's not a joke. I'm not kidding, Joe. Your showers get better. Your laundry is better.
It's not a joke.
Of course, is your drinking water and your cooking. Everything gets better with Hofferman Water and Connecticut. So please get in touch with my friends today. You can book your appointment one of two ways by dialing 612-895-2440, or you can visit HoffermanWater.com. Either way, you can book that appointment and get on the schedule for that free water analysis. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Fiscal year 2022 to 2024 funding sources. As of September 30th, 2024, the U.S.-Ukraine response funding totals nearly $183 billion, with $130.1 billion obligated and $86.7 billion dispersed. That's a lot of money.
Well, if your house burned down in California and you need,
what do you get?
You need to buy some supplies. You get $740.
That solves everything.
Yeah.
So does that get directly deposited, or you can't really mail a check to your house that's burned down?
That's a good point, Chris.
Thank you, Joe. That's what I do here.
It must be direct deposit.
I bet.
Yeah. That's a hell of a bargain, though, I think.
Why do you publicly?
Why even bother? What? Say we have had announced. By the way, John, what's happening at the legislature? The Democrats stay away?
I was just funny you should mention that. I was just looking, and there's no update from anyone that I can find. I don't know if they showed up. It's supposed to start at noon. So I don't know.
Well, I'll be damned. We do know that the courts have ruled that Tabke can be seated. The Shakopee fellow who won the DFL'er, he can be seated, even though 20 votes were lost, supposedly. We learned today that the lawsuit challenging the status of who will represent 54A, which encompasses Shakopee, in the House, has been decided, with a Scott County judge deciding Brad Tapke's win stands in that election that was decided by 14 votes. There is no basis in fact or law for holding a special election, the judge said. With this ruling, the balance of power in the Minnesota House stands at 67-67. So wouldn't that compel the Democrats to return today?
Yeah, wouldn't it? I mean, they'd have no reason to stay out now, right?
Right. Lisa Damuth cannot be named Speaker of the House if it's 67-67.
Mm-hmm.
It'll stand 67-67 until the special election in the Roseville district, 40B, on Jan 28. That's the one where the Democrats cheated, knowing full well that a guy named Curtis Johnson, is it? Curtis Johnson?
Yeah.
Did not live in 40B. I'm sorry. He did not live in 40B. He lived elsewhere and won the election, but they were caught. You know, Melissa Horban might be a great friend of Garofalo, and he spoke well of her, but she is a really, really sharp gaslighter. She's a gaslighter. She's just lighting gas everywhere she can.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, how about the nugget that he threw out yesterday that I don't think we gave enough attention to on the location of the secret swearing in? Remember that?
Yeah, the Historical Society.
But nothing could be captured by video because of its...
they have some special status.
But they obviously knew that. That's why they...
Well, right. I don't know what that even means, why you can't film there. I have no idea. But in any event, it's 67-67 and will be until January 28, when presumably you people in Roseville who are asleep at the wheel will vote another DFL'er in there. Apparently you can afford it. And then it will be 68-67, and the Democrats can quit pouting and crying, and they'll be back in power by a vote. Yeah. So we also have had announced today the resignation of the Department of Human Services Commissioner. This would be Walz's Department of Human Services Commissioner, Jody Harpstead.
Well, that's odd.
So this must mean there's a hell of a new fraud coming along.
She's getting ahead of it?
Because she's going to get out of there before the bleep hits the fan, just like Heather Mueller left the Department of Education, and the food fraud scandal broke free. Now we have the Department of Human Services Commissioner Jody Harpstead stepping down. She was appointed in August 2019. She's leaving on Feb 3.
On the 3rd of Feb.
So about
she's
Feb 4 or 5, you can expect a real storm. You can expect a Santa Ana wind of more fraud. Woo-hoo. But it won't be her fault.
No, she wasn't there.
Yeah. She said, I have been so proud to be the commissioner of the caring, competent, and high-capacity Department of Human Services. Oh, good Lord. Harpstead said, I'm pleased that we were able to balance new, stronger process controls with greater responsiveness to community partners. Foghorn Community Partner.
I got you right
That's just thrown around way too. Everyone's a partner.
Mm-hmm. Does that bother you more or less than when Target refers to their people as guests? Which one bugs you more?
Ooh, it's a tie.
It's up there.
You know, when I go to Target, I'm not your bleeping guest.
She didn't give a good reason, did she?
I'm pleased that we were able to balance new, stronger, and process controls with greater responsiveness to community partners. Worked with the DHS grants and contracts team to imagine a redesign of the agency's thousands of grants. Most of them, not all of them, but a lot of fraud there, Jody. And I'm not saying Jody's a fraudster. I'm just saying there's some trouble coming around the bend. But they've built an unparalleled team of strong senior leaders.
Management speak.
Sure.
That sounds like something I've read in an email. Reply all.
And Walls, of course, applauded Harpstead's work. Well, he applauded Heather Mueller's, too. And she went out the door.
Right.
With her full pension, benefits, whatever.
They take care of their own.
You know, Jody ain't going to be looking for her next meal. I am proud of her work running the most complex and wide-ranging agency in state government, Walls said. I am especially proud of how Commissioner Harpstead supported the enterprise-wide work to separate DHS into 3 separate agencies will make each of them more effective, more accountable, and easier to manage. The Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Remember that? The Department of Children Happy Thoughts?
Yes.
Will spun off from DHS in July, just this past July. And the Department of Direct Care and Treatment will spin off in July of 2025. That'll be easier to track the fraud that way, I think. Seriously, it will be easier. Harpstead's resignation comes as federal authorities investigate allegations of youth autism centers abusing a DHS-administered program to defraud millions in Medicaid reimbursements. Why? Settle down, Joe.
And 24 individuals for the Feeding Our Future fraud case.
A 2022 report from the Office of the Legislative Auditor also found a pattern of lax oversight of DHS programs. Our own Channel 5 also reported extensively on the agency's failure to move inmates to state-run treatment facilities within 48 hours of a judge's order for civil commitment, as required. As of Monday, Walls had not named an interim DHS commissioner to take Harpstead's place. Why is she leaving, Tim?
You mentioned a 2022 audit. A 2024 audit found the agency didn't follow procedures for avoiding conflicts of interest, engaging whether nonprofits were financially stable enough to actually receive state grants.
The whole thing is a complete corrupt mess. I feel the same way about whoever Jody Harpstead is as I feel about. I continue to be the one lone wolf who believes. I don't think she's lining her pockets. I don't think Walls is lining his pockets. Heather Mueller, I don't know. but they're not. They're just incompetent, and the whole thing is too big. It all got away from them. It continues to get away from them. They can't keep track. Their oversight is extraordinarily lax. They've all been lectured to by the state auditor. Nothing seems to get through to them. Too much money goes through their hands, and too much money leaves their hands to unvetted sources. Now, why does a Jody Harpstead get to skate? Why doesn't she have to stay and face responsibilities and explanations? It's just
Why
a
isn't
mess.
that being asked
because the
already?
worst governor in the history of this state is their ringleader, and he's not about to. I suppose Jody Harpstead and Heather Mueller and the rest of them, maybe they can thank Walz. He hasn't thrown them under the bus. He hasn't said publicly, this is all Jody's fault or this is all Heather's fault.
Joe, they're all paddling in the same life raft.
Yeah, they're all nuts. They're all corrupt. They're all idiots. They've had too much money to work with. They're too stupid for their own good. It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
This is our version of a fire. This is our version of the Santa Ana winds starting a fire. Only what's burning in Minnesota are dollar bills.
Ooh.
We're
Meanwhile,
just burning it up.
The citizens of Minnesota are naming snow plows and talking about wind chill.
Yep.
We don't care, or they don't care. Us collectively don't.
Jody Harpstead, God love you. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. But why do you get to skate? Why do you get to retire or move on, or you'll get some other gig and come through a side door and pick up a grant? I don't know what you're up to. Who the hell are you? Who the hell was Heather Mueller? She was some buddy of Walz's when they were both so-called teachers in Mankato.
Right.
How is she your pal, Walz? Look up Jody Harpstead and Walz. How do they know each other? He didn't bring anybody competent to his government. He brought in apparently his pals or people that were owed favors by the Democrats.
Because that's different than everybody else.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's true of the whole political process.
How do you think we're employed?
That's how it works.
If I may interrupt your rant for just a moment, Joe, the Democrats did not show up, and it is 67-66 still until the Kerry Dietzig seat is decided.
Now, that's Senate.
That's
Senate.
Okay.
That's Senate. The House is now 67-67. Brad Radke's
yeah,
a House member.
You're right. I'm sorry. That's my fault. Yeah, so it's tied up.
So they should be there. It's tied up. Where are they?
Well, I keep reading it's not tied up, though. So
it is.
Let me do some more research.
Well, if they're going to seat Radke, is that his name?
Well, but the Republicans said
Tabke.
They said they wouldn't recognize him, the Republicans.
Radke was the pitcher for the Twins.
The Republicans are going to ignore the rule of law by a judge?
That's what Demuth said yesterday. Possibly may do that. They may not. Let me do some more research.
While you're doing that, Tabke 4 hours ago on Twitter says the judge's ruling was decisive. Speaker designate Demuth should now unequivocally agree that the House GOP will not overturn the voters in our Shakopee 54A election and agree to govern together for the people of Minnesota. We can start together today at noon if she wants.
Well, noon is come and gone, and these are there.
Yep.
They have not entered the bill.
But all of his other tweets, Joe, I'm sorry, John, are Brad retweeting messages saying that the Republicans are evil, the GOP is wrong, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
They did meet up until it sounds like 11 this morning and could come to no agreements. So,
Matt, anything?
Doesn't say how they met.
Does it give any of her background?
She was...
This is Jody Harpstead.
Are they texting late at night with the volume of the ringer turned off?
I don't know. In other words, Matt, who was she? How did she get the gig?
Governor Walz named her commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Human Services August 2019. Prior to her appointment, Commissioner Harpstead was the president and CEO of Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota since September of 2011.
All right.
She also was the executive vice president and chief operating officer for Lutheran Social Services and spent 23 years in a variety of positions with Medtronic.
That's what I think I've heard, that's a pretty good straight up organization, is it not? Lutheran Social Services?
Yeah, but I would imagine much smaller in scale than taking over a Department of Human Services.
Right.
In other words, maybe she's a crackerjack, whatever she does,
Right.
but she gets into this mess. It's layer upon layer upon layer of the buck never stopping. Maybe she's had enough and said, "The hell with this."
It's like trying to plug multiple leaks in a dam with your fingers. She's
Right.
just running from, yeah. Oh, I'm seeing on our YouTube commentary that Lutheran Social Services might not be so wonderful.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, nor do I. I can't confirm and or deny.
Don't know a thing about it.
I don't know anything about that.
We live in a time when a generator might be a really wise acquisition. Who knows? We're blowing through so much money in Minnesota, we might lose all power, at which point you'll need a generator to watch the troubles elsewhere.
Yep.
Because you can plug in. EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake has a sale going on Yamaha generators. $13.99. You can buy it for $7.99. That kind of sale. 3-year warranties. These are 4-stroke. They're quiet. They're fuel efficient. They can be electric starting. This is an amazing, amazing sale at EcoFun Motorsports, which also just happens to be the electric bike capital of the world. Youth recreational equipment, at least that they can sell, because apparently we're afraid that kids are going to lick plastic and some of the PFAS contained in them are problematic. So we have a law in Minnesota that, well, you'll have to check that out when you get to EcoFun, see what's available. Motorcycles, snow equipment, snowmobiles, side-by-side, you name it. It's a fun store. It's on 97, just west of 35 in Forest Lake. People want me to add Columbus. I guess that's the township, but it's right off the highway. And down in Burnsville on the service road of life. And a great, did I tell you the electric bike capital of the world? I think I did tell you that. And a location in Burnsville, the service road of life near County Road 42. And a great website, ecofunmotorsports.com.
'82, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years of life. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy.
Yeah.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
How about this? Guess who's back again? Wait, I got to do this. I forgot. Masters Maples. Joe, look at that glorious maple syrup there on the YouTube channel.
I like that stuff.
Here's the deal, everybody. Ben is the GLer who's the brain trust behind Masters Maples.
Great big guy.
He is, and we were just talking about Fletch. He's a very tall basketball player. See?
See, it all comes back to good movies.
It's all full circle. Anyway, Ben is the creator of Masters Maples. 12 years ago, he developed this personal passion, and it's been a wonderful success story. From tap to table, Masters Maples brings you 100% pure maple syrup. It's a gluten-free, natural sweetener that can be used in cooking, grilling, and glazing. I've used it all three of those ways, by the way. They have a full line of maple syrups and add unique flavor to meals, but also many health benefits that commonly used refined sugars do not. Simply put, Masters Maples offers the best 100% pure maple syrup that Minnesota has to offer, and other great fantastic products like the bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup, maple sugar, and also very underrated, the sweet and savory seasonings and rubs. You can order your bottle of Masters Maples today and taste the difference. And hey, if you want, they've got gift packs available too for family, friends, coworkers, whatever the case might be. Just order them online today. It's mastersmaples.com, mastersmaples.com. Joe, taste the difference.
Sure. Maybe Heather Mueller and Harpstead and whoever the next one is to resign, maybe they work out a deal with Walz. Maybe they go into him and say, look, I'm not going to rip you and throw you under the bus. I'm leaving, and you praise me and make sure I'm not implicated in any of this stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to throw you under the bus. Maybe that takes place.
That's a good deal that could have been cut.
Yeah.
4 minutes ago, Hauser said Minnesota House Republicans now in the process of electing Rep. Lisa DeMuth as House Speaker. This will likely be challenged in court by House DFL.
I have the video. Kyle loaded it into the system for us if you'd like to see it.
Sure.
67 members present. There is no quorum as required by the Constitution of the state of Minnesota.
Mr.
The
Secretary.
House may not conduct any further business, and the House of Representatives
Mr.
is
Secretary,
adjourned.
I move to appeal the ruling of no quorum.
Oh. Half the building's empty. Why are we hearing that music?
Joe.
So they're in a break to cover it with music.
Oh.
Republicans took a vote to elect a new pro tem, and now went on to...
Who's the babe in the pink sweater?
Oh, Jesus. Joe.
That's my gal, I think, isn't it? Peggy Scott?
Yeah, Peggy Scott. She used to be a Second Stork board member.
Really?
Yeah. Nice gal.
She's my rep.
Yeah, like Barbie. She looks like Barbie.
Yeah. Here's John Haidt.
She's my rep. There
Good.
you go.
That's good.
You don't really care, do you?
Not really.
Let's clean up this thing we talked about earlier. It is still 67-66 with the tab key decision, and the seat they're waiting for is the Roseville seat, where the fella had the residency problem, shall we call it. So it'll be either 68-66 Republicans or 67-67 a tie once that January 28th special election takes place.
All right.
Now, to the news, Democratic state representatives here in Minnesota did stage a walkout today, failing to show up at noon for the first day of the legislative session to deny the State House a quorum amid a fight over how to manage a chamber that's set to be equally divided. And as you heard Kenny just say, Steve Simon was trying to adjourn, and as you heard on the tape, that didn't work. Republicans continued on and hired Lisa DeMuth as the Speaker of the House.
So did they say harumph harumph?
They might. Is this? What are they doing now? What is
nothing?
I mean, what does this mean with when are the Democrats going to come in?
We don't know.
Oh, okay.
Well, it sounds like they'll take it to court, from what we heard.
Okay, they skipped one day, but why do they get to keep skipping the rest of the days?
Because
I don't understand that.
Because they're adult children.
Okay.
The United States, I'm just going to throw this out there. Given the events of the last 2 weeks, United States will never work again. I'm sorry.
I don't think John's wrong.
Where I'm at.
I don't think John is wrong.
That's where I'm at. We can't face any
nothing
issues.
Works.
Nope, nothing works.
Nothing works.
John, do you have a new sponsor?
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Who is it?
This new sponsor is North American Banking Company, who, as always, brings us this newscast.
That's such an interesting take. So what will it take to get the United States to start working again?
Well, many people believe Trump was the answer to make that happen.
Many people believe Trump was the problem.
Yeah. So we're in a fine kettle of fish.
That's why it'll never work again.
I've never heard that before.
Fine kettle of
Fine
fish.
kettle of fish.
Kettle of fish.
It's a fine kettle of fish.
Okay.
I don't think I won't.
Now, also this morning, a judge rejected a request to nullify the election results of Minnesota's 54A House of Representatives and hold a special election. A court ruling for the position found that there is no basis in fact or law for holding a special election and that the election is not invalid. This all started back in December. Minnesota GOP candidate for the seat, Aaron Paul, had requested a special election after Scott County officials said nearly 24 ballots were accidentally discarded without being counted in the race. Paul had trailed incumbent Democrat Brad Tabke by 14 votes after a hand recount. Court documents say Paul alleged 3 reasons for holding the special election. Court documents said Paul alleged uncertainty regarding which candidate received the most legal votes, alleged election officials had deviated materially from proper election procedures, which directly impacted the results, and alleged Scott County officials engaged in deliberate, serious, and material violations of Minnesota election law, according to Paul. However, the court said Paul was unable to prove his 3 election contesting grounds by the greater weight of evidence. According to Scott County, 6 people testified they had voted for Paul. That's 6 of the votes that were thrown out, while the other 6 testified they had voted for Tabke. According to the court, they then took into consideration the 9 other voters who did not testify and considered those votes be counted toward Paul. However, even with the 15 extra votes, Tabke still would have been the winner, 10,979 votes to 10,965 votes, according to the court.
Years ago, you'll recall, Democrats, the DFL, didn't want to take part in some sort of gun control measure. I believe it was the Ventura administration. They hid behind flower pots. Remember that? We call them the flower pot gang.
I don't remember that.
This is the new version of the flower pot gang. They're not even hiding behind flower pots.
No.
They're not even there. They're just not there.
Meanwhile, a Minnesota state senator is splitting her time between Capitol business and an afternoon court hearing ahead of the criminal trial. Nicole Mitchell, Democrat from Woodbury, accused of breaking into her stepmother's Detroit Lakes home. Today, her lawyers say Mitchell will attend the hearing online from her office at the Capitol and plan to argue for a later trial date.
What a great setup we got here.
After the legislative session ends. The motion requesting a later trial date was filed on Friday, citing a state statute authorizing postponing judicial proceedings in which a lawmaker is involved while the legislature is in session. However, prosecutors say this goes against their efforts for a speedy trial. In the filing, the Becker County attorney said in part there were 0 instances of the statute being used to delay a proceeding for the accused in a criminal proceeding. All of this, of course, as we've been talking about all day, all week, all of this could affect the balance of power in the Senate, depending on the outcome.
She really has the bad mugshot. It's not flattering at all.
she does.
I would demand, if I were her, to take the mugshot over again.
Can I get a redo?
I need a redo on this mugshot. I'm not that bad looking.
Let me get my black outfit completely
Right.
assembled here. John, I don't know if this was part of the story, but Hauser 2 hours ago announced that the judge did deny that request.
Okay.
Hauser just reported that 2 hours ago.
Gotcha.
Okay.
The country music group Old Dominion will be taking the stage at the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand on the opening day of the Minnesota
I can't believe
Get-Together.
that you're bringing us this news. Is this the
announced
first
this morning.
news of 2025 about the fair?
Well, we had another concert already announced, remember, a ways back. Melissa Etheridge and the Indigo Girls.
Oh, that's
So-
right. But I think that you announced that in 2024.
I think you're right. So this is the first 2025 announcements. Tickets do go on sale soon. In fact, they go on sale this Friday, January 17th. What a great day that is. Reserve seat tickets range in price from $67 to $103. So far, the State Fair has only announced one other grandstand show, as we said, Melissa Etheridge and the Indigo Girls for Sunday, the 24th of August. The fair is early this year, it seems to me.
Yeah.
August 21st to September 1st.
I think you boys will be happy with some headway I've made in negotiations concerning us in the state fair.
Really?
I'm not prepared to say anything today, but I'm sure you're going to be somewhat happy.
I bet those were fun conversations, weren't they?
They were for me.
I don't know. The way things turn out, somehow I feel maybe now we'll be doing 7 days instead.
No. Negotiations.
What is your favorite Old Dominion song?
I don't know them.
I
very
was on a
well.
boat that day.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
T-Pain?
What's funny is I should remind the five of us, not Joe, that's usually a pretty lucrative gig
Extremely.
for us. Yeah.
That's too bad.
So thanks, Such.
Basically, double pay.
Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Joe.
Way too bad for you guys, I guess.
Taking food right out of my children's mouths.
Yeah.
I've seen the kid. He's not starving.
Wow.
Kenny's
You wouldn't
kid.
believe how much weight he's lost.
He's a
like
big guy,
rail.
though.
He's a rail.
Yeah.
He's all muscle now.
He's not like he's very fit looking.
The beard weighs about 50 pounds in itself.
He's got hair down to his ass, too.
He's got the long locks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rent Cafe.
And he's handsome. I don't know where that came from.
I think he's, like me, he's rebelling against you.
Oh, okay.
Rent Cafe, an online service that helps people search for and find apartments to live in, has come up with a list of the most livable cities in America. Minneapolis is number 4 on their list. To come up with a ranking, Rent Cafe analyzed 139 metropolitan areas with a population of at least 300,000 people. An index consisting of 3 main categories and 17 underlying metrics was constructed using public sources like the Census Bureau's American Community Survey. The top 5 cities: Portland, Maine, number 1.
I'll give you that.
Lincoln, Nebraska, number 2.
It's landlocked.
Des Moines, Iowa, number 3.
Landlocked.
As I said, Minneapolis, number 4.
Big deal.
And Ann Arbor, Michigan, number 5. Their description of Minneapolis: with a strong focus on hospitality and physical well-being, the Minneapolis metro area shines in both quality of life and socioeconomics. In other words, fitness and fun all rolled into one spot.
Yeah, when you're running from a carjacker.
Right.
Yeah, get your steps in.
Who is responsible for this?
This is a company called Rent Cafe. They help you acquire apartments and lead you to apartments.
So they've got some apartments they're trying to unload in Minneapolis, so they elevate it to 4th place.
Why don't we take a break here?
Boy, that's a good point.
Hear from our friend, the Rookie.
Thank you, Mr. Height. I appreciate that nice salutation. And I want to remind you, Garage Logicians, this is a serious, it could be a serious problem if you do not do anything about it. And I'm talking about your drain. When it comes to keeping your plumbing and drains running smoothly, I got a website for you, unclogdrains.com. That's the website for McDonough's. It's the team to trust. They specialize in unclogging drains, cleaning out those sewer lines, and performing preventative maintenance to avoid costly backups. They really are. Check it. Some of those things might cost you $20,000, right, Kenny? From homes to businesses, they handle everything from minor blockages to major drain issues, including water jetting, video inspections, and even grease trap cleaning for commercial kitchens. Plus, they got those cool vac trucks, huge wet-dry vacuum trucks. They clean out those catch basins and flammable waste traps, elevator pits, and a whole bunch more. If you'd like to learn more, you go to unclogdrains.com. What sets them apart? Their expertise, honesty, exceptional customer service, and their GLers. They're also known for their transparent pricing. Jobs are priced by time and materials, no hidden fees, and their commitment to doing the job right the first time, which is common sense. Unclogdrains.com or call them anytime, 651-436-3370. That's unclogdrains.com.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
GL'ers, we've got something new and exciting for you in 2025. We're going to celebrate our biggest fans of the podcast by naming one member of the town council GL'er of the week.
You don't tell me.
Are they going to win something?
You get stuff. Make sure you tune in every Friday, including this Friday, when we're going to award the first GL'er of the week. And that's coming up on Friday. The GL'er of the week will be picked from a list of all annual town council members with an active membership as of last Sunday night. If you are already an annual member, great. You don't have to do anything. Monthly members, you just need to update your subscription to an annual subscription before Monday.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Huh?
Tomorrow?
Just get her done.
The Monday each week. Probably.
And if you're not a member yet, join us. Get in on some of the hijinks here when we're not on the air. Along with getting a salute on the show, this month's winners will get a gift box from our good friends at Masters Maples with up to $50 in syrup goodness shipped to your door. Thanks for your support over the years, GL'ers, and good luck. It's $10.
You also get a $10 Fratelloni's gift card.
You get a 10. Really?
Yes. Get yourself some.
You mean the winner does?
No. Every new
subscriber
gets a $10 Fratelloni gift card.
All right, that's my hardware store.
That's right.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Store. Here's Johnny.
Thanks, Joe. Other news, firefighters battling the L.A. area fires are facing new threats nearly a week after they erupted across the region, fueled by powerful Santa Ana winds and extremely dry conditions. The National Weather Service's L.A. Forecast Office issuing a this is an odd warning. The whole wording is particularly dangerous situation, red flag warning.
That's a PDS.
PDS, there you go. It lasts until Wednesday at noon for parts of L.A. and Ventura counties, warning high winds could cause explosive fire growth. The Weather Service advised residents to have multiple ways to receive evacuation information and not do anything that could spark a fire. Areas under the warning do not include the Eaton fire, but cover western Santa Monica, Simi Valley, Porter Ranch, Ventura, and other parts of the hard-hit region. Winds during the event will be closer to a typical strong Santa Ana, between 50 and 70 miles an hour, instead of the up to 100 mile an hour winds that were seen when the fire started last week.
We don't particularly anticipate that we'll be putting out any fires, but we have a new acronym for you, PDS. It's a particularly dangerous situation. We spend a lot of time in meetings with counselors to, what do you call those people? Consultants to come up with that. PDS. We're going to call it a PDS.
According to Tom Hauser 1 minute ago, Representative Lisa Demuth was just elected Minnesota Speaker of the House on a 67-0 vote with no DFL lawmakers present. She took the oath of office by a GOP House member who has a notary republic. House DFL leaders will hold a news conference later today to challenge these proceedings.
Some guy with a dog catcher's license is now presiding over the thing.
Hamas has accepted a draft agreement for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of dozens of hostages, according to two officials involved in the talks. Mediators, the United States and Qatar, said Israel and the Palestinian militant group were at the closest point yet to sealing a deal to bring them a step closer to ending 15 months of war. The Associated Press obtained a copy of the proposed agreement, and an Egyptian official and a Hamas official confirmed its authenticity. An Israeli official said progress has been made, but the details are being finalized. All three officials spoke on the condition of anonymity to talk about the talks. Confirmation hearing for Pete Hegseth featuring protesters, members of both parties expressing support and opposition for Hegseth, and tense exchanges between Democrats and Republicans who oppose him as the nominee. A former Fox News anchor and Army National Guard combat veteran testified in front of the Senate in an explosive hearing that rehashed some of the allegations of sexual assault and excessive drinking that loomed over his appointment to the role. One protester yelling out, "You're a misogynist," as Hegseth talked about the liberal left-wing media, which he blamed for the charges against him. When questioned about the sexual assault allegations and alleged alcoholism, he simply stated he was willing to endure these attacks, as he vehemently denied that they happened. Former Rep. Liz Cheney, whom Donald Trump has threatened to jail over her role in the January 6th investigation into his alleged election subversion, touted the release of the J6 report and questioned whether Republicans would give their loyalty to what she called a tyrant by blindly supporting the president-elect. The DOJ released Special Counsel Jack Smith's report shortly before 1 this morning after the president-elect had fought to prevent it from going public. In the report, Smith concluded, quote, if Donald Trump hadn't won the presidential election in November, the Justice Department would have had ample evidence to convict him at trial of trying to obstruct the 2020 election results.
Did I read or hear correctly that J.D. Vance will not attend the inauguration?
I did not.
Really? I did not see
Because he
that.
wants to attend the Ohio State Notre Dame College Championship.
I did not see that.
Rook, get on that.
That will not happen.
There's no way.
There's no way that'll happen. Sounds like you've been getting your news from Twitter, Joe.
Yeah, that's my job.
No, I didn't get that. I don't.
That was a joke.
It was?
There's a story on the Hill.
Comedy.
He jokes about moving. He joked about moving the game, or he'd have to skip the inauguration.
Oh, I thought maybe it was an excuse to miss the inauguration in case the inauguration turns into something violent.
Does he get inaugurated right there as well? When does he get?
That's a good question.
You can get him. You can get him in the back.
You can get him.
Yeah, Vice President like J.D. Vance says he was just joking about skipping the inauguration in order to watch the Ohio State Buckeyes play in the college football national championship game. But the Ohio senator added he's fantasizing about the matchup being postponed by a day.
Chris, was there outrage? Is that why he had to
issue a statement?
Yeah.
Probably, I would guess.
Michelle Obama is not attending the inauguration, nor did she attend Carter's funeral.
What happened to her? What's she doing?
I think she's
working on school
I think
lunches.
she's surfing.
Hmm.
Roughly 2 in 5.
At one of their oceanfront estates that they have, despite the fear of rising sea levels.
Roughly 2 in 5 U.S. adults over the age of 55 will develop some form of dementia during their remaining lifespan, according to a new large-scale analysis published yesterday. Those findings imply the number of newly diagnosed cases will double from around 500,000 to about 1 million each year by the year 2060. Dementia is an umbrella term for a number of neurodegenerative conditions that cause loss of cognitive abilities, including Alzheimer's and Huntington's diseases. Researchers pointed to an aging U.S. population as the primary driver. Women who live on average 5 years longer than men had a 48% chance of developing symptoms compared to 35% for men. Alzheimer's accounts for about 2/3 of all dementia cases. DirecTV is launching a package aimed at viewers who watch mostly sports. The My Sports Skinny Bundle, announced this morning. It'll feature 40 sports and broadcast channels. It'll launch in 24 markets, with those in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, and San Francisco able to get their local affiliates. The My Sports Bundle includes the ESPN and Fox Sports networks, the ACC, SEC, and Big Ten networks, Golf Channel, TNT, TBS, True TV, USA Network, as well as the networks from the NFL, NHL, NBA, and Major League Baseball. More markets and local ABC, Fox, and NBC stations will be added when the agreements are reached with affiliates. The package also includes channels available from the MyFree DirecTV ad-supported channels. DirecTV says they'll also add the ESPN Plus streaming channel and more direct-to-consumer channels in the future.
You know, I was mentioning that Michelle is probably at one of their oceanfront estates. Was it Truman who said, show me a politician who gets rich while in office and I'll show you a crook? When Obama became president, he was worth about $12. Do you have
1.3 million?
That's it?
That's what this says before. This is the wealthgang.com.
No, but what's his current net worth?
70.
$70 million. How did Obama become worth $70 million? Why is Nancy Pelosi worth so much?
Well,
you know, we've been gamed our whole lives.
It's a great gig.
It's just a hell of a gig, isn't it?
All right, here's the top 5. Donald Trump, $3.7 billion.
Which I don't believe,
6.5. I know
Yeah.
you're going to say that. Joe Biden, $8 million before, $10 million after. Barack, 1.3 to 70. W, $20 million after, $40 million. Okay, but he already had money.
Yep.
Clinton,
Yeah.
1.3 million.
When he came into office?
Yep.
Yep.
120.
120 million. How did these guys get rich?
Reagan, 10 and then 15.
Reagan was honest.
How did Clinton have 1 point whatever before he got
That's a good question.
Well, he had
I don't know who's.
Oh, they had
He
land.
makes money. You know,
They were both lawyers, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing, though? Clinton's worth 70 mil, or
Barack.
Obama's worth 70 mil.
Yeah.
And Matthew,
He
those
never worked a
stats,
day in his life.
Right.
those
How much
stat-
lower? I'm sorry, Ken. Go ahead.
Those stats were while they were in office, not after, because
Yes.
the speaking circuit is very lucrative for
Well,
these
Obama,
folks.
You
the
can't
40
speak enough to make 70 million.
It says he had a net worth
You
of
can't.
1.3 million before taking office, primarily from his career as a civil rights attorney, coupled with earning from book sales. After leaving office, his wealth skyrocketed through lucrative book deals, public speaking events, and a Netflix production deal.
After.
Right.
So not while in office.
Correct.
Well, and I'm just looking. I was going to ask the question, but I went and looked it up while you guys were talking. Book deal, $65 million.
What are you going to find out?
The publisher lost money.
It was Penguin Random House.
Joe, what'd you make for that Wood Boats deal?
About 10 grand.
Bill, $15 million advance for his memoir, My Life. $21 million. Well, Hillary got an advance of 11.5. So it looks to me most of these are from book royalties or advances.
But look at that. Between Hillary and Michelle Obama, those two first ladies hit the pavement hard for book deals and appearance fees. And the
Pelosi's
like.
all stocks, right? Pelosi's wealth is all stock-based.
Yes.
There is a Twitter account that's the Pelosi Trade Tracker, and it's made people a lot of money, apparently.
You just
It
buy
basically
what she buys?
Just basically, yeah, copies exactly what she does.
Do you guys remember we looked this up? There's a page that actually does this for every member of Congress.
Yep, I do remember. us
And
doing
we
that.
were stunned at all of them. You know, guys went in worth, $800,000 and come out worth $50 million.
I don't get it.
So
Well, I
need
do
to-
get it.
I
It's
really
all
need to
corrupt.
run.
We've been scammed by everybody.
I need to run.
We've been duped.
You know what? We have been. I'm going to write a letter.
Hoodwinked.
And don't think I won't.
Senator
Good luck.
Mikulski, prior to negative 750,000, after 12 million.
The U.S. Postal Service, 2 new stamps. Joe, I know you like the new stamps announcements.
I'm due for a stamp run.
2025, 2 new stamps announced yesterday. The first will be based on the book, which was big in my house. I'm sure it was big in all your guys' houses. The book Good Night Moon.
Oh,
yes.
boy.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got a copy laying
Love
around.
that.
Yeah.
There will be 16 stamps featuring 8 images from the book.
I'm going to get them.
The book illustrated by Clement Hurd and written by Margaret Wise Brown. And then the other set of stamps coming out, SpongeBob SquarePants.
I think
stamps.
I won't buy those.
Oh, God.
Blend of-
When do those come out, John? I got to make
Right
a note
now.
of that.
It just says this year, 2025.
Oh, okay.
The blend of humor, wit, and absurdity in the Nickelodeon animated series has made it one of the most beloved television shows of the 21st century. The stamps will amuse and delight, according to the press release, their recipients, whether your card or letter is addressed to a house across town or a pineapple under the sea.
I still have a good supply of Hank Aaron stamps.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think I did this once for you.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants. Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob
My problem
SquarePants?
is, Joe, I don't do much office work like you.
Yeah.
So I right here have about 300 stamps.
You got
That's
a
good.
lifetime supply.
That's
Because I
wonderful.
like the
Do you have
stamps.
muscle cars? I got a lot of muscle cars.
I don't remember a muscle card.
Oh, the Mustangs and
John, you have like 300 unused stamps?
want to sell them?
That might have been a bit of an exaggeration.
Well, the kids
Let's say
gotta get married
let's say
someday.
100.
Invitations.
Maybe 100.
Well,
I'll go with
they're fun to have. That's good. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Yes,
No,
certainly,
go ahead.
Joe.
Huh?
No, I was just saying
Yeah,
certainly.
yeah, thank you. Fine.
Okay.
Truth, justice, and the Souchere.
Offsite correspondent Kelsey wants us to know why he doesn't shop at Aldi's.
Okay. Is it, plural?
Aldi's.
Yeah.
It's
plural
confusing.
Aldi's?
It's
Aldi's.
different to me.
Well,
Confused.
in Chicago, at an Aldi's, an Aldi store, a live coyote was going through the produce shelves. An officer eventually grabbed what appeared to be the tail poking out of the shelves and furiously pulled before the wild animal shockingly emerged and landed on the market floor. They had to get rid of it.
Yeah,
They had a live in Chicago, a live coyote in the store in the produce section.
I like Aldi. I'm a fan.
I've been there. What's their niche? Are they just?
You got to pay for your shopping cart.
Well, you get it.
Well, you get your quarter
Kenny.
back, though.
That's nonsense.
No, that just means that you won't steal it.
No, it means you'll return it.
You'll return it, yeah.
Yeah.
For a quarter? You
And
get
that's-
For a quarter, I won't steal it.
No. You
No,
guys are missing the
no,
point.
If I
it's-
pay
the
a
point
quarter
is-
for it, I
it's
own
so
it.
that
It's
they-
going in my pickup box.
It's so that they don't have to employ people to go retrieve them from
Right.
the parking lot.
Saves them money, so it
and
saves
there's
you
no
money.
there's no name brand stuff in there.
Well, it's their own brand. They're owned by Trader Joe's.
Instead of Snickers, it's stickers.
I thought they were
come on.
Swedish. Are they a Swedish store?
I believe
No,
they
that's
are
the-
German.
That's the furniture joint.
And I'm
That's
reading
IKEA.
from the New York Post that California's eco-bureaucrats halted a wildfire prevention project near the Pacific Palisades to protect an endangered shrub. It's the latest clash between fire safety and conservation in California that is coming under scrutiny. Well, in 2019, the LA Department of Water and Power began replacing nearly 100-year-old power line poles cutting through Topanga State Park when the project was halted within days by conservationists outraged that federally endangered Broughton's milk vetch plants have been trampled during the process. You got to save the milk vetch. Yep. The goal of the project was to improve fire safety for the Pacific Palisades area by replacing the wooden poles with steel, widening fire access lanes in the area, and installing wind and fire-resistant power lines, all after the area was identified as having an elevated fire risk. This is according to the LA Times. But some prematurely gray-haired 42-year-old busybodies came along and said, you're harming the endangered Broughton's milk vetch plants. Where was somebody to tell them to go bleep themselves?
Right. Good point.
Aren't people worth more than the milk vetch plant?
You would think.
Oh, vetch.
Yeah.
I was wondering what was your hostility against the milk lady?
Milk vetch. The plant is an MILKVETCH. Broughton's milk vetch.
I heard it as a B word.
No.
And, it was very not nice.
Broughton's milk vetch plant.
Joe, founded in July of 1946, that's 78 years ago, the company Aldi started as two brands. It was called, I'm going to pronounce this, Aldi Nord and Aldi Süd in Germany.
I'll be damned.
And they do own Trader Joe's and Winn-Dixie's.
Is Piggly Wiggly still around?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
They had a nice store, didn't they?
Yeah,
Piggly
they did.
Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly.
Go in there and get
Chris,
stuff.
question for you.
Talk to me.
What's the time in the temp?
Yeah, I wonder if I get the time in the temp.
Yep.
There's
Thank
also
you.
a great piece in the Wall Street Journal about when Juan Cabrillo dropped anchor in what is now Los Angeles' San Pedro Bay in the autumn of 1542, he promptly named it the Bay of Smokes. Annual wildfires fanned by Santa Ana winds are nothing new. This is how nature gardens itself. She doesn't care whose lives are destroyed, whose homes are burned, or how long it takes to reclaim the scarred land. So it was known as the Bay of Smokes as long ago as 1542.
Piggly Wiggly still is in business.
Really? What states, I wonder? No, I don't want to know. It'll take too long to find out.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I would just.
Southeast and the Midwest.
Okay.
Tomorrow we're going to do gas stations.
Hey.
Clark. Where'd the Clark station?
Remember Clark? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a Clark on Grand Avenue in St. Paul.
Clark were cool.
They were just small, though, weren't they? You couldn't get a pop in there.
Did you used to? Did you ever keep the stickers that they'd give you? I don't remember if it was Clark, but one of those gas stations, you'd get a card and a bunch of stickers every time you bought a tank of gas.
I don't recall that.
So we got Lake Elmo Inn food down the hallway?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking
trying
at
to tell me to get going?
Let's go here.
First, let me tell you about Piggly Wiggly, though, because I'm looking at a map in the U.S. Most of them are in the south, but there is a ton of them in Wisconsin to the south and east. Tons
Piggly
of
Wiggly. Still around. I'll be damned.
What about Red Owl?
Red Owl, yeah.
Red
that was
Owl.
local,
That was
I
the
think.
best, man.
I think that was local.
That was bought by Apple Bombs, I believe.
We had one in Mandan, actually, oddly enough.
Well, guess it wasn't local. Only because they come to us all the way from the traveling Lymans. On this day,
January 14th.
it's how the traveling Lymans maintain their link to their homeland of Minnesota. That's the only reason we do these, is because they come to us from a distant location.
Right.
On this day,
Jan 14.
in 1846, Stillwater's first post office was established with Elam Greeley as postmaster.
I bet that's where Greeley Street is named after.
I bet you're right.
Yep.
On this day,
114.
in 1850, the Minnesota Territorial Supreme Court opened for its first term with Judge Aaron Goodrich presiding. I thought that you would tell me that's where we got Goodrich.
Probably that's where we got Goodrich Avenue, I bet.
On this day,
On January 14th.
in 1938, the Hallie Q. Brown House, named for the African-American civil rights advocate and suffragist, moved into its first permanent building in St. Paul, offering tutoring and day camps for children, as well as emergency food and clothing for needy families. The community center later relocated and combined with the Martin Luther King Center in St. Paul. On this day,
On Jan 14.
in 1976, Sauk Center teachers ended a week-long strike after the Teachers Association and the school board ratified a contract settlement that called for a salary increase with an additional 25 minutes of supervisory time and provided teachers with no less than 250 minutes per week of prep time.
What was your record low? Do you have your record sheet?
On two occasions, the record low on this day was 26 below.
Okay.
1963 and 1972.
All right. On this cold day in 1963, my sister Teresa was born. We don't do birthdays, so I'm not going to wish her a happy birthday. I hope she has one. But
You're interrupting this day in history.
I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No, we have two
Is there
more.
one more? Fort
Who is-
Snelling and
Who is that, Matt? Who was born?
my sister Teresa,
No, how many? What year was that?
63.
Oh, it's too bad we don't wish people a happy
Well,
birthday.
hell, she was
bummer?
old when you were born.
Yeah, she was 5, I think.
Oh, that's not old.
Yeah.
On this day,
Yeah.
Jan 14.
in 1993, Anne Bancroft of St. Paul, using her extraordinary family wealth, I added that,
Whoa.
reached the South Pole by skis, becoming the first woman to travel overland to both the North and South Poles. See May 2nd. You'll have to wait. She led the American Woman's Expedition on a 67-day trek, during which the four women covered 660 miles on skis. Additionally, in 2001, Anne Bancroft and Liv Arneson became the first women to ski across Antarctica.
That's pretty badass.
It is. It is. I do think she had a few bucks working behind her, though.
Well, that's not. How's that going to help you when you're skiing across, ice?
I know she had nice
I
skis.
mean, you're frozen and you're going to get numb.
She had some nice skis, and she
You're
had
gonna get
great,
numb in the
great
tent.
jackets, and a nice hat. She had goggles.
I know one thing. She wasn't wearing a 20-year-old ditch pickle jacket.
Hey!
I love my ditch pickle jacket from 20 years ago. Technically, it's actually close to 30, Kenny.
And finally,
Light at the end of the tunnel.
And finally, on this day,
on Jan 14,
in 1993, the movie Iron Will, a fictionalized account of a 1917 dog sled race.
It's a great movie.
From Winnipeg to St. Paul, opened nationwide. Albert Campbell, a Metis man from La Paz, Manitoba, won the real race, which was part of the St. Paul Winter Carnival.
You covered that?
Not in 1917, but I did cover one. I'll tell you about it in a moment.
Yeah.
The first written account of any dog sled race detailed a trip from Winnipeg to St. Paul in the 1850s.
Wow.
I covered a dog sled race. No.
Snowmobile
race.
Oh, I thought you did do a dog sled race, too.
It morphed into a snowmobile race,
okay.
which left Winnipeg and ended up at Lake Phelan a couple days later. I never saw a thing. They would leave, and you would get in a van and be driven to the site where they arrived. Nothing. I never saw a thing of it. Never.
Pretty cold out there, huh?
How was it today? Well, I had a few mailboxes, but other than that, our sled held up pretty well.
That was a hardcore generation. They'd lose a ski and drive another, 30 miles.
Yeah, I ran the damn thing on one ski ever since I left Bologna. And then
covered with scars.
Crash into
from
a
frostbite.
snowplow. But they did it.
Joe, I can clear up your confusion on Red Owl, too.
Oh, good
It was
Lord.
based in the Twin Cities. However, they had almost 500 stores in Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, North and South Dakota. And they own 3 radio stations, which I find odd.
I think that I was accurate in calling them local.
Yeah, Hopkins. They were based in Hopkins
Locally
headquarters.
based.
Yeah. Now, were the stations called, hey, you're listening to 1240 Red Owl?
Call into the owl.
It was,
I don't know.
It was KRSI, WEBC, and WNAX.
John,
radio stations. Yes.
Did they evolve or get bought out by Super Value? Because Super Value is based in Hopkins now.
We had Super Value and Red Owl at the same time in Mandan. So
They must have merged.
I think White Bear had a Red Owl that's now Kowalski's.
Correct.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
yeah, right off the lake.
And
Thank you.
Minneapolis
Thank you,
Moline
man.
was also in Hopkins after moving from
Why are we even
Minneapolis.
talking to each other when we have a house food expert right
Yes,
here?
I'm gone. I'm going down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys. Oh, we got to end up here. Calls are up.
Do us a favor, GLers. As Joe mentioned, make sure you sign up for the Garage Logic Town Council on an annual basis so you can be the GLer of the month. We also encourage you to find our YouTube channel. Did you know that Garage Logic has a YouTube channel?
What?
Yeah, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel. And on that channel, you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. There's also full segments, some video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage in some cases, but it's all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You can follow us along on all of our social media channels as well. Just search for Garage Logic on Instagram, X, and Facebook. And what am I forgetting? Oh, the Daily Logician. Yeah, it's an email. Comes to your inbox each and every single day. It includes the most recent episode of the podcast. And if you're a town council member, well, then you get Saturdays with Such, a letter directly from the mail. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat, huh?